It's an announcement that we await with bated breath as to who will be Johannesburg's new elected mayor. Will it be Park Staw or Herman Mashaba? Joining us in studio is constitutional lawyer, that's Advocate Zahir Omar, and Professor Sipho Siepe, a political analyst. To both of you gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. You at home, the lines are open 011-542-2186, or you can tweet at ANN7 TV. Again, a very somber moment right now where the councillors would have to vote completely unexpected. And through a spanner in the works, but we saw solidarity with the differing parties, at least honouring the deceased ANC councillor. Just your observation so far, Mr. Omar, around today's proceedings.
The death of the ANC councillor is a sad day for all parties. It is an occasion where all the parties, all disparate parties have come together to express condolences. That is a sign of the goodwill in our country that is held by all our people. As far as the choice of the speaker is concerned, it is clear that the EFF has cast its vote totally in favor of the DA. This is a disturbing feature because the EFF did not conduct its campaigning on the slogan, "A vote for the EFF is a vote for the DA." Had the EFF done so, the studies researched by the Society for the Protection of our Constitution already reveal thousands of young students are disappointed at the stance by the EFF. It's inevitable then that in the 2019 elections, the EFF will be removed from political horizons or will be completely swallowed by the DA.
Do you think that this watered-down stance, as Advocate Omar is saying, of being non-committal, in other words, they 1 foot into the coalition with the DA, but very much quick to want to pull out should things get too heated?
Well, I don't think it's non-committal. They've already taken a stand. And as Mr. Omar indicates, when you side with a party that Malema calls a party of white racists, you are taking a stand. And what is interesting about these coalitions is that they're driven not so much by ideological considerations or political program, but they're more driven by personal issues, divorce issues that some of the members have with the ANC. Because if you look at it, it's a clubbing of people with issues that are unresolved. And unfortunately, they are not really about the politics. And this is why these coalitions are really very problematic, even for many people who supported the parties.
I'll qualify my statement in saying non-committal because the EFF leadership coming out and saying we're not in a coalition with any party, but we will vote with the DA in major issues. So in those, is it just
once you take a decision that has an effect of changing something, that you've already committed to that change. And in this case, the change is a change as preached by the DA. So you can't say I'm non-committal when you actually deliver a particular mayor when you have many other options. So let's take it that this is most people have actually said it was a strategic move. But what it says for many people who voted for the EFF, and as some of them are complaining, that when we voted, we did not vote for the DA. They are actually saying you have actually betrayed us. So if it ends with people saying we can no longer trust you with our vote, that is not strengthening you. It actually makes you weak. It simply says you are so angry with the ANC that you're willing to go to bed with people who might be anti the agenda that we have, that we think you represent.
Negative sentiment aside and the narrative that you've just proposed, but we know that the EFF, of course, are kingmakers, and already the DA being awarded, if you will, the speaker's position, that is gone. The mayor's candidate or position is next. What's your view, Mr. Omar?
Look, our people in our country and the international community must not be naive. Many leaders of the ANC foresaw this. In fact, we foresaw that the EFF were backing the DA and were being supported by the DA. The stance of the EFF to take this radical line that they will promise that which is contained in the Freedom Charter, they will wrestle the land and the capital from the white racists and give it to the people. This has been exposed to be a lie. The ANC, astutely enough, held back did not expose this before the 2019 elections and allowed this lie to be play itself out, and we know as a fact it will be the cause of the ruin of both the DA and the EFF.
But let's just, I know we can't preempt because voting is currently underway under very unforeseen circumstances. But looking at the EFF and DA deal, already having given them the Speaker's position, do you think the mayorship is next?
Of course. I mean, I think Malema has been public and clear about this, what the EFF is going to do. Says when it comes to voting, we will definitely vote against the ANC. We're going to vote for the DA. And the biggest enemy of the EFF, it is the ANC. I would have thought that he'd be saying it's capitalism, it's white supremacy and all that. So he has made it very clear what he's opposed to. So I do not think members of the EFF are going to vote differently. But as I say, in the end, it might not be strategic. It might actually work against them, because when decisions are made by the DA that will lead to mass action, the EFF cannot join that mass action, because once it joins, people will say, you are the last to join us because you supported those people. Already, Solim Smang in Tshwane is already beginning to say he has to deal with the possibility of mass action against him by some group of workers. And the party that claims to be on the side of workers cannot then jump and say, we're going to support your program when you have actually delivered that particular mayor.
Yeah, you think on the part of the EFF, this is an expression of the voters' confidence or mandate, or a subversion thereof?
It's a betrayal, it's a subversion. As far as Johannesburg is concerned, Parks Tau, not even the opposition, had the courage to honestly and sincerely criticize Parks Tau in his position as mayor so far. Is there anything dramatically wrong which anyone can say he did, ranging from corruption, lack of service delivery, lack of reaction by the people? Parks Tau compared to Mashaba, there's no question about who's a better candidate. But the EFF, driven by a conspiracy it reached with the DA before the municipal elections, is now playing out and submitting to the wishes of this white capitalist party that are the product of apartheid national party in 1994.
Wow. Okay, we're going to explore that thought, Mr. Omar. Just hang on. Marina's calling from Alberton. Hi, Marina.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. What's your comment or question?
I just would like to point out that the EFF have decided to vote correctly. They, at all costs, want to get rid of the ANC dominance. They have not formed any coalitions. In fact, they are not taking any position, which means that they hold the right to be the deciding factor in all other caucus issues. So therefore, by putting themselves in a position where they are, they can in future vote against the DA should they feel that the DA is not doing the correct thing. So I think that they are actually doing a very brave thing.
All right, Marina, that was my understanding as well. But Professor, thanks so much for your call. Professor Siepe seems to differ that by your actions alone, you are conceding and accepting the ideologies and everything else that comes with the party.
No, I think what we should be putting first is not the parties, but our people. And what we should also be looking is that what is it that the EFF stands for? It stands for a number of things, including land expropriation without compensation. It stands for nationalization. It stands for the notion of eradication of buckets and all those things. It stands for putting black people first. But the DA, and it stands also for, when it comes to economy, its posture is more radical. And the DA stands for something else. The EFF, programmatically, is much closer to the ANC. It may represent a radical element of the ANC, but it's much more closer. But what drives it? It's more, first, yes, we can talk about the dominance of the ANC, but it is less about dominance of the ANC. It is more about punishing the ANC because of some divorce issues of the past.
And how does this manifest itself? I mean, this is problematic if it's founded on this deep-rooted anger and demise that at any cost, the EFF would want to elbow the ANC out of politics and see to its natural death, as Floyd Chivambo was saying. Why is this a concern, or why should it be a concern to us?
You see, The ANC is not a person. The ANC may be likened to what is called in law a legal person, a company or a closed corporation. You can't touch or feel the ANC. It has no feelings. How could the ANC have ever hurt Malema or the EFF? Impossible. No. This is, with respect, a lie. Clearly, the EFF in its stance so far. Let's go to the public protector. Judge Desai, who is a senior judge, everyone accepts he's the most suitable candidate. Yet the EFF voted with the DA in favor of who? Sharice Wiener. Sharice Wiener is a white judge who has done nothing to advance the interests of the people on the ground in this country. Shiraz Desai, by the way, was far to the left of the ANC, more towards communists during the period of the struggle. One would expect the EFF, who shares the same socialist values of Shiraz Desai, would want a public protector who would advance the ideology it preached during its campaigning. The EFF is doing the direct opposite. But the next elections is a short while away, 2019. And the consequences of the lies, the deceit, and the betrayal of the EFF is going to rebound back in favor of who? The ANC.
Okay, Mr. Omar, point taken. Fumani, thanks so much for holding. What's your question or view?
All right, Cindy, my view is I would like those two gentlemen to talk for themselves. We are the people, we have voted, and we are quite happy of what we're doing. The change has come. They must rest in peace. Thank you, Cindy.
Okay, for Mani, of course, that's the other public discourse in the sense that with Musi Maimane being there, charming the black vote, etc., that we have seen a evolution of the DA, and the ANC needs to admit or adapt to the new role that they may have to play, even in Johannesburg, as the opposition.
Well, I think he's correct in a sense that we should not pretend that the DA has performed some maneuvers. We have seen black people in the stadiums in large numbers, and we cannot deny that. But of course, the growth has been very little. It's not as it is actually pronounced, about 3% from the previous performance. But what is also important is the narrative of saying it's a party of white bosses and black stooges it's a very dangerous one, because it might lull the ANC to sleep, where the ANC might assume that it has black people or black people who support it. So it has to do much more. And also being in opposition benches, what it will do, it will assist the ANC in regrouping, restructuring, and reimagining. And this might actually be the best thing that may have happened to the ANC.
Yeah, I mean, the level of discontent as well, disenchantment with the ANC would even allow the cost of a seasoned politician, a councillor, and somebody who has spent his entire life working for the ANC and has done a sterling job in Johannesburg, even if I may be accused of being biased, but the evidence is there. So this could potentially cost even Park Stau the position because of the perception that's out there of the ANC. Why do we need to be more discerning and sobering when we make these kind of decisions?
You see, our youth particularly were lulled and were lied to by the EFF. The experience of this elections will be an awakening to our youth to trust our leaders, our older leaders who were and who remain loyal to us. As recently as today, a black advocate prosecuting Paul O'Sullivan instinctively told Paul O'Sullivan in court, "Don't treat me as if I am your boy." In Cape Town, how many African people haven't experienced the same thing, with whites talking to them in a demeaning, patronizing way, and making the African black person believe that the white is his boy? Even before the announcement of the candidate for mayor in Johannesburg, we have a black advocate in the court telling Paul O'Sullivan, "Don't treat me as if I'm your boy." This is 22 years into a new South Africa. Where has the EFF taken us to? Taking us backwards to the days of the DA. But it will be very short-lived.
So you don't see it just at face value, Mr. Omar, that there's two black candidates here. One an astute businessman, black like me, has done very well for himself under the BEE conducive environment. And there's one who's a seasoned politician who's delivered on service delivery, including sound financial instruments. Two black guys. Is this black on black, or is there more at play?
Well, I think the AFF has been very clear about its position on Mashaba. But like I say, if you vote for him, you must actually assume all the mistakes that he makes. And but what it does show that this marriage is already on rocky grounds, that he's going to have a serious challenge, and what you're going to have is a more rolling mass action, because Mashaba may have been a good businessman, but politically, and even when you look at him when he engages issues, you can see somebody who's not only politically challenged, but linguistically, in terms of his vocabulary, political vocabulary is very limited. All he can say is three things: the ANC is corrupt, unemployment, and we're going to do better service delivery. But beyond that, he does not have anything to offer. And the EFF is very concerned about that. But they're also concerned about his vacillation on issues of BEE. So this is really a marriage that I don't think, and actually I'll be very surprised if Mashaba could actually last 5 years.
But he's obviously less repulsive to kiss than the more evil or devil than the ANC. We'll continue with Clive is in Durban. Hi, Clive. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
You're speaking to Clive Singh here from Durban. How are you?
I'm well, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been following this show here from the whole day. I canceled all my appointments. I've been watching it, hoping to have a mayor by around 2 o'clock, only to find out that we're still waiting now. But in any case, I just want to share some of my views as one of your avid viewers.
Thank you.
Of ANN7. So, firstly, I would like to say that if you look at Parks Tower, I think he's an excellent mayor. He's really achieved a lot in the city of Johannesburg. But at the same time, you know, under him, and I've been following a lot of political things. I've met him on a few occasions. He's a good guy, but you know, the following, and that's what we supporting the EFF and DA for, is to bring about change, not necessarily to support any other notions or race groups. I mean, I see there's a very well-placed, dynamic racial infrastructure amongst all the different political parties. But what I'd like to say is change is good. But let's see what happens tonight. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, of all the days the councillor could have passed on today, and it shows you that we're definitely not in control here. There's obviously higher forces here, and everything happens in its right time and place. And, you know, this could be the Almighty somehow guiding the future for the country. So let's hope and pray that we have a good leader, and that leader will lead us on, whether it's Parks or whether it's Mr. Mashaba. And I'd like to say hello to your two gentlemen there. I've been listening to Sanbonani, I forgot your name. I'm seeing you on my screen there in the middle. Your name, sir?
Clive, thank you so much. I'm afraid,
thank you so
yes,
much.
we
And I
really,
just want
really
to say
appreciate
the gentleman on the right, I've been listening to him. Salaam alaikum. And I wish you guys all the best.
We really,
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your support. Thanks indeed.
I'm
Clive
going to watch my ZTV programs here, Keram. I'll come back to you guys.
All right,
Thank you.
appreciate it. Of course, we were also hoping by now that an announcement will be made. But whichever way it goes, obviously it has to be in the interests of the citizens of Johannesburg and Greater Gauteng and the country. But coming back to what the DA would need to focus on, we've already seen announcements being made that their SOEs need to be cleaned up. So there's a couple of programs that are running in tandem. They have their tentacles in all places and that are legally based. We're not really hearing much about the service delivery. But before we go there, we have another caller. Hello to you. Hi, Figisa. Hi, good, thank you.
Hello, Cindy. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you, Cindy.
What's your question or
Yes,
comment?
Cindy, my comment, Cindy, is that I think I would like your analyst to assist here. There's been comments doing rounds that the ANC swallowed the National Party, the White Party, which has oppressed us since 1948. And always there has been comments as to why now it is that everybody is saying that the DA is going to swallow the smaller parties, but nothing is being said about the ANC having swallowed the National Party. What happens to the likes of Matas Kalvik and many other white people who joined the ANC after the National Party reached its demise?
All right.
And also, I would like Professor Siepe to assist me here. I heard him on one of the TV channels one day saying that the stand taken by the EFF is a stroke of a genius, that they've decided not to have any coalition with any party, but they've decided to be an opposition, but to vote for the DA. Like in their words, they said that the DA is a better devil than the ANC, which is the stand that they took. Can he assist me as to whether he is saying that view now that he had, or he's saying something differently? And also, Mr. Omar, I don't know. I think I need to understand him, because most of the time, it's just like he's speaking for the ANC. He's not giving an objective view of the events as they unfold and giving us a balanced analysis of the event. Thank you, Cindy.
All right, Fikisa, of course, our debate is around what is likely to happen and considerations that the EFF would have to make. We know that they have vehemently come out to say they will support the DA, but it's a very close call. Just on the some of the issues that were raised regarding the coalitions as a political strategy. It is not only the preview of the DA, because we know the ANC has taken some smaller parties under their wing.
So what the ANC did not do, the ANC never campaigned on a platform of an anti-racist party that has its beginnings in the old apartheid South Africa. The ANC has not done that. The ANC has not aligned itself, neither in Rustenburg or as yet, with a party, and the ANC did not surrender or compromise its principles, which the EFF had done. Going back to Herman Mashaba and Pakistan, Herman Mashaba is a black man, but he is the epitome of a white capitalist ideology being played out. He has been clearly co-opted by white capitalist ideology, and he's now in the same cauldron as the DA. It's not an issue of the complexion. Maimane, everything about Maimane, his exterior is black, but everything about him, his speech, his dress, his manner, his wife, is all white. Now we must understand, the ANC was in a sense forced to accept the terms of the Constitution at CODESA before 1994. President Mandela did this for the sake of peace. What he achieved is to return our sense of dignity. President Mandela said when he came up the hill, he looked and he saw many other hills. It's for us to overcome these hills now, and this is a challenge for the ANC.
But I think what Fikisa was saying is that we shouldn't blame, or rather label the DA as having absorbed the NP and absolving the ANC of also having to have adopted NP members.
Yeah, the difference here is that when the ANC worked with the NP, it was very clear that members of the NP were being absorbed. It was not the ANC assisting the NP. It was working towards the demise of the NP. But here you're not talking about the demise of the DA. You are talking about giving the DA a jewel, a crown, and to govern, and to also manage a big budget for their own interest. And my man was very clear that we did not ask them to vote for us, but we thanked them for volunteering. So what the EFF is faced with is that for the next coming 5 years, it has to prove that it has not sold the people, because that's the view that is emerging even within some of its members. So what it also means is that for the next coming 5 years, or even the next coming two years, you're going to see a robust positioning by the EFF against the DA to prove a point that it has not sold out.
Professor Siepe, that's all the time we have. Advocate Omar, as always, thank you so much. You at home, thanks for taking the trouble to participate in our discussion. We take a quick ad break and we'll see you shortly.